Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to today's second episode of CSGO News. If you guys missed this morning's episode, feel free to go check that out. As always, let's get right into it. In today's first big CSGO News story, many of you guys know Valve announced a big update to the coaching role just yesterday, which seems to have been the final straw which unraveled a multitude of pros who took to Twitter and discussed and hate about the subject and the new rule just yesterday when it was announced. So much so that rumors of a possible CSGO player union began to circulate, and even better, a meeting among many pro players was set to happen today, and this is confirmed by both SK Fallen and Liquid Elige, who will be two of the pro players that will be at this meeting now. Obviously, they probably wouldn't be meeting in person, so over some kind of mumble or Skype call, whatever it may be, there was set to be a meeting today, and the topics that are going to be discussed there are, of course, yet to be announced, but it could be just about anything. I'm very excited to see how this meeting goes, and it's really going to be exciting to see in the future that if we have a CSGO player union, or even just a unified pro player base, where these guys can take a stance on, a one-sided stance on several issues, it'll be cool to see what kind of power and control these pro players could have in the future if everything goes their way. And I personally, guys, hope there's more than just the coaching rule that was announced yesterday that's upsetting all of these players. As to be quite honest with all of you, from a viewer standpoint and from my own standpoint, I don't really find the importance of the coaching role to be too important, and I think we really probably overreacted to all this coaching rule and stuff, because from a viewer standpoint, it doesn't really change our gameplay, although I do have to feel for those teams where this heavily affects their meta and how they actually operate as a team. Now, obviously, Valve probably felt somewhat the same way, as they had no reason to disturb the game, and they probably did not expect so much of a backlash for this update. But in the player's defense, again, I feel it's very difficult from a viewer standpoint to actually gauge the coach's importance, because when we're watching those Twitch live streams or the tournament, the minor, the major, whatever it may be, it's really hard for us to gauge how important those coaches are, because when we're watching those live streams, they don't have a coach cam often. Quite often it's only during timeout, so we get to see the coach. We don't get to see all the times where they come in, they intervene, they actually tell the players what to do. So I'm really interested to see how this all works out, and if Valve's fully going to enforce all of this as well. And I think we're all really underwhelming how big of a moment in history this could be for CSGO. If these unified players and these pro players decide to unify and try and test a point, we're going to see if Valve actually backs down and agrees with whatever stance they take on whatever issues they're trying to discuss, or if Valve's going to backlash at pros and start striking them down as well. So this could be a big moment in history if anything breaks out from here on out. And as announced last week on CSGO News about McSkillet's bold prediction for our next operation, it does unfortunately seem that his accuser was correct and McSkillet's inside source was indeed wrong, as both August 10th and 17th have both passed, and we have yet to see the new operation or the maps that will come with it, although we can be assured there will be a new operation at least sometime soon in the near future. Unfortunately, McSkillet here was wrong for one of the rare moments in time. And in some FaZe clan news, FaZe Fox must be very happy as reported to HLTV just yesterday that he will continue to play on his own career, and even happier as his former team was absolutely destroyed by Team X in the Starlighter Invitational League. And I mean not destroyed, but really destroyed. These ex-SK guys looked amazing as they beat FaZe 16-4 on map number 1 and pulled off the incredible 16-0 sweep on map number 2, which is not the first struggle we've seen for these new lineups, as many have announced this past week. A lot of them have been struggling besides just FaZe. We also had OpTic Gaming sweep CLG in their new lineup with Sabrosa and Nadi in a best-of-3 series, also in the Starlighter Invitational League. Obviously, Starlighter so far has been a very bad luck situation for all these new rosters. It was on map number 1 where CLG saw their only lead go to nothing because they led 4-0 to begin this game. OpTic then came back from down 4-0 and won 16 consecutive rounds to close the game. Absolutely unbelievable there. So it seems for now that their new gaming house, obviously I announced that yesterday, their new CSGO gaming house is helping their performance, and no surprise here as OpTic Mixwell took the MVP of the match with 47 total frags for the series. And last but most important, yesterday was the official start of the ESL Pro League Season 4 for both North American and European qualifiers. Many people were wondering for this just how good Team Liquid would be without Simple. As many of you guys know, Liquid Simple formerly went to Na'Vi, transferred over a couple weeks ago to Na'Vi's organization, and the answer to that previous question was not very good at all. Team Liquid without Simple really very well struggling, as they were swept by fellow North American team Cloud9 and their new rifler Automatic, who was just welcomed to the team yesterday, and this is their first debut with him. He had a very second average map, probably about 20 frags or so, a very average second map with the team, but against Liquid in map number 1, he played very well, almost reaching 30 frags. So insane to see that. Automatic fitting in very well with Cloud9, but it's also a very big deal for those of you guys don't think, when you're analyzing the talent left in North America, it's very few and far between, as our previous top tier team, obviously by far and away, was Team Liquid, as they got second place in ESL Cologne back in July, and now all of a sudden you have North American talent who spread out amongst all of our teams. Obviously Liquid without Simple now reverting back to their old selves. When they had a Dren, they had Kusta, they're back to their old ways where they're almost breaking even with all these other North American teams, and they are no longer our top tier team. And when you really analyze all the North American talent, you can say at best we have teams like OpTic with Mixwell, we have TSM with Twist, but besides that we have all these star players that are spread amongst all these teams, and at best we have these teams with maybe 1 or 2 star talents and a bunch of average players. So for future majors, guys, I'm very worried about North American talent. Maybe it's just me. I mean, I know a lot of you guys aren't going to be surprised by that because everyone always says NA CSGO anyway, anyway, but that was my personal opinion on that. Other words, guys, in other CSGO news, we had the ESL Pro League news coming soon, and that was the very last second match between Echo Fox and Luminosity Gaming. It was first postponed, and this is now reinstated yesterday, just before ESL Pro League started, for the 28th and final spot for this season, and it was indeed Echo Fox who swept Luminosity Gaming 2-0 to take that final spot, and who will waste no time as their first ESL matches start today as you guys are watching this. Now, a lot of people are very happy about this, as somehow Luminosity Gaming was able to keep their spot after even losing their entire team. As many of you guys know, they then went ahead, they lost their former LG roster and picked up the old win-out roster, the entire thing, and were eventually voted in by popular vote alongside Echo Fox. Now, a lot of people are very upset about that because they carried on that old fan base from LG, and they were obviously voted in by popular vote very easily. But in the end, I think the better team won here. That was Team Echo Fox, who again swept LG 2-0 quite convincingly there. And really the main problem here has been ESL with all their organizations and tournaments so far. They've been rule bending for a lot of teams such as LG, such as Winter Fox, other teams as well has been heavily involved in this instance, where they've been rule bending for every different team, different rules here and there. So it seems they need to come in together and actually have a unified rule book, because as of right now, they've been bending the rules for different teams, and it's becoming a very big thing in the CSGO community. A lot of backlash coming towards ESL. And very last in today's CSGO news, guys, a quick reminder to all of you, going on right now as you watch this video is the HP Omen Torture Challenge. It's been promoted very heavily by people like FaZe Mojo and myself as well. HP Omen actually sent me an entire desktop yesterday, which I'll have a video about tomorrow, because I'm going out tonight, guys, and I probably won't have time to actually make a news video for tomorrow. So tomorrow's video will be the unboxing of a brand new HP Omen PC, which is pretty awesome, guys. Even better though, they're bringing back the Torture Challenge. If you guys don't know what that is, it's going to be between Flipside Tactics and Mouse Sports. It's a best of 3 series where you guys, the viewers who actually watch the streams, get to decide the tortures for which players and how they do that during the match play. So these tortures can be anything like, you know, applying very cold air, making them freezing, making them very hot, even having their chairs shock them, possibly going into a torture chamber and then spinning them around their chairs so they're disoriented and they start to play again. So it's a great fun way to interact with all the viewers, and I can't wait to watch it myself. As always, hope you guys all enjoyed this episode of CSGO News. It was very fun today to make 2 episodes in one day for a double upload. I hope you guys all enjoyed. As always, I'll see you guys all tomorrow with another video. Until then, remember, I like you. I'll see y'all then. You guys know what's coming. Goodbye, guys.